Welcome back, everybody, to this week's live episode of the DCL Duo podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And I guess I said this week's, it's the third one in a week. So it's been a week, people, of
It's been a
announcements
week.
out of Disney Cruise Line. So we're under a time constraint tonight because we got to get out of here to get our son picked up from an appointment he's at. So we got a 45-minute episode. We're going to try to keep it a tight episode tonight. And what I'm going to do is actually tee up a whole bunch of the announcements that Disney Cruise Line has made over days 2 and 3. I won't revisit the announcements that they made on day 1 that we talked about with CT from Tinfoil Mouse Ears, although I wish CT was here to keep us honest over what we got right and what we got wrong.
He's in the comments.
I have traded out my tinfoil mouse ears for my Club 33 hat. So I'm going to throw up the presentation that we've put together. I took some notes from CT on how to, I used Keynote tonight, and we're going to give that a shot, see if it works. I'm going to go through the presentation. So you're going to listen to some talking from me for the next, 15 minutes. And then I'm going to open it up to the group to discuss. And Sam is already breaking the rule that...
No, I'm not breaking the rule because Brian has yet to introduce our guest that's with us
Chelsea,
tonight.
yes. Welcome, Chelsea. Thank you, Sam, for keeping me honest there. Welcome, Chelsea, from My Path Unwinding Travel. We invited Chelsea on because we were hoping to talk itineraries. We'll get into a minute about now we just need Chelsea's opinions on the actual announcements. We'll get into why in a minute. But Chelsea, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you.
All right. Let me add in the presentation that I put together and start off with the announcements from day 2. Day 2 was not a heavy announcement day. We got really 2 key announcements out of Disney about the Destiny. The first is this DeVille Lounge, a Cruella DeVille themed piano bar that will replace Nightingales and Scat Cat for the Destiny. You can see here it will have a spotted piano. They made a big deal out of calling out the spotted piano. It will also serve martinis and other fun cocktails. They also made a big deal about it opening up onto the Atrium for a little bit of like people watching vantage point. Mm-hmm. My memory is that the other 2 venues, well, the other venue for sure that we've seen, we haven't seen the Treasury yet, actually does have like windows that face off toward the Atrium. It doesn't actually open onto the Atrium. So I'm sort of curious to see if they actually have this as an open space and how people will react to that, given their reactions to the open space around Luna. But maybe it's that they have the ability to open it and they can close it at times too. I don't know, but will be interesting to see how they implement that. They made a big deal about calling that aspect of it out. Next up, I got to find my presentation window here. There we go. Next up, we got the Aquamouse. I think it was the silly sing-along, but the idea is Mickey and Minnie are going to have fun with your villainous friends, including, you can see Chernabog there on the screen. So it's a new show for the Aquamouse. It will complement the 3 other existing shows for the Aquamouse, which include the Kraken storyline, the Yeti storyline, the new Golden Egg storyline that will be on the Treasure. They are saying the Destiny will have all 4 available to them. I would assume that will mean that the other ships will also have all 4 available to them at some point, but we shall see. But essentially, you're going to ride the Aquamouse through a bunch of screens with some of your favorite villains, hijinks ensues, silly songs, in the style of kind of the new animation they've been doing with Mickey and Minnie. So that is the new Aquamouse show that was announced. We also got the announcement that the Haunted Mansion parlor is returning. Wah, wah, wah. So I think CT and I had vigorous debate about this on the last show. I will reserve my thoughts on this, but the Haunted Mansion parlor will be returning as the sort of technology bar or the tech bar on board. So that will be there. Today, man, it was Marvel all day, all the time today. So the announcements were like titled, it's Marvel in your face. Like it's Marvel, Marvel, Marvel. And so here's the Grand Hall. I want to be very clear. Like these are artist renderings. And in particular, like this strikes me as a very rough drawing of the Grand Hall. This is not kind of the 3rd or 4th iteration of a rendering. This looks like a very rough iteration of rendering. Some people have been calling out online like frosted glass and stuff. I just really want to remind people, artist rendering the key word there. So this is not a photo of the Grand Hall or necessarily what it will look like in its final state. But you can see the big news on the Grand Hall. We finally got our Grand Hall statue, and it is the Black Panther. So the Black Panther will be the statue in the Grand Hall, a fitting tribute, I think, to that character. What was his Chadwick?
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. Thank you. I knew Chadwick. Chadwick Boseman. I just think a really nice little tribute to that character that he played. So fantastic, I think, addition to the Grand Hall. First time that we will have a Grand Hall statue, by the way, that is not a Disney animated character. It is a Disney live action character. On the back of the ship, another controversial decision today. Spider-Man is back there fighting off the spider bots. If you've been to Avengers Campus in Disney's California Adventure, you know that this is kind of the game Spider-Man plays. He throws webs to fight off the spider bots. And so Spider-Man hanging back on the back of the ship. Some web-based art there, or web art there also in the painting. Again, a first for Disney. A non-animated character is hanging off the back of the ship with Spider-Man. So really putting a stake in the ground for Marvel. We also got the announcement of the Tower Suite. I'd like to call it the Stark Tower Suite, but it is a Tony Stark Tower Suite. You can see they've got a bedroom rendering there and a rendering of the sort of the main room area there. Gorgeous suite. Again, I like to say only like one family of sailing really gets to experience this thing. So gorgeous to see. We'll probably, never see it in person, but gorgeous to see. Hats off to those of you who
you never know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if we win the lottery, right? That brings us to what else is new. So there were some things that they announced that they did not give us renderings for, so I can't really show them to you. Today they announced a Doctor Strange bar called the Sanctum Bar that will be, we think, where the Bayou is today on board the Wish. So more incorporation of Marvel there. They also announced a number of villainous encounters that will be on board and some of the villains you should expect to see on board. At the top of my head, I'm remembering Maleficent. I'm remembering
Dr. Facilier.
Trying to remember some of the others they announced.
Loki.
That's right.
Yes, Loki.
And Bruno.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Bruno.
Yes,
and they mentioned about Oogie Boogie as well.
Yes,
but
they announced that some things will continue from other ships on the fleet. So some people saw an announcement around an Oogie Boogie layer where he would do his Oogie Boogie bash. We're pretty confident that does not mean there's going to be a dedicated space for Oogie Boogie and his bash on the ship. That wouldn't make a ton of sense, quite honestly, because it's only like an hour to 2 hour thing that they do occasionally on some of these sailings. What they have done is turn the hero zone into Oogie Boogie's lair and done the bash there. So I suspect that's what they're referencing. They're also referenced it. I'm calling it a new trivia, but we've heard it was actually tested on the Wish shortly after she released, and then kind of faded into the background, and people haven't seen it since. But it's a trivia where the villains interrupt the game, and so so that new trivia, or that existing trivia that hasn't been seen on the Wish, I guess, in a little while, might be coming to the Destiny. Let's talk about really quickly what's returning, and then I swear I'm going to pause because I want to get Chelsea and Sam. They can have the airtime for the next 15-20 minutes. So what's returning? Disney also put out a separate press release today, sort of walking through the experiences that you would expect to find on the ship, putting everything together, and then announcing some of the things that will return. 1923 will return, although it will have some slightly different tchotchke in it. They mentioned Baymax, which is near and dear to my heart, but it's sort of a heroes and villains themed tchotchke around the restaurant. Worlds of Marvel, of course. At this point, if they don't have Worlds of Marvel on the ship, I'd question what they're doing, but Worlds of Marvel will indeed be back. It will indeed have that Groot show that they are starting up on the Treasure. Marceline Market will be returning. That wasn't specifically called out in the press release, but they did provide the media with some art for Marceline Market. So I'm assuming that Marceline Market is coming back. Frozen will be one of the shows on board, as will Seize the Adventure. Please, everyone, there's a few people that have been freaking out in the community, like, oh my God, they're putting Frozen on. That doesn't, and we are still expecting an announcement for one more show. All right. So these two shows are coming to the Destiny, but we expect one more show. The Pirates Rock and Parlay Party will be coming back. Hero Zone and the Incredicourse will be coming back. The Wonderland and Neverland Cinemas will be coming back. The Rose, Palo Steakhouse, and Enchanté will be coming back. The Untangled Salon and Hook's Barbary will be coming back, as will the entire Senses Spa. The pool deck will be largely the same. They have announced a Toy Story splash area, And I put Marceline Market on here twice. I don't know why I did that.
Yeah.
So yes, Marceline Market is doubly coming back.
I don't know if you mentioned this in your list of things we don't have pictures of, but Saga is the replacement for Luna, and that's going to be
Good call.
Wakanda themed. So that's just one other thing that was on the list, but I think Brian neglected to put it on his list.
They didn't provide. It's Doctor Strange themed, I think, is what they sort of called out. But yes, the Luna space will be Saga.
No, it's Wakanda themed, not
Oh, sorry,
Doctor
Wakanda
Strange.
themed. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Wakanda themed.
Yeah.
So yes, that will be the replacement for Luna. So that's it. And I'll cap it off by saying, much like the Wish and the announcements for the Treasure, right? They basically told us, if we don't tell you it's changing, it's going to be the same. So, there's a lot of stuff they've specifically said is coming back. There's a lot of stuff they've announced that's new, but until we hear something else, you should just expect it's going to be the same as it is on the Wish and the Treasure. Last thing I'll say is sort of what we're missing, just to highlight third stage show. We don't have the itinerary. We were fully expecting, based on everything we were hearing, to see itineraries today and booking to open up next Monday, and that did not happen.
Yeah.
So
and this should say November 2025, not 2024.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. But one thing
I'm putting this together on the fly. Yeah,
I know.
Let me just wrap up really fast and say, so we don't have the itineraries. We do know she'll be sailing 4 5-night Bahamian and Western Caribbean sailings that will stop at Lookout Key or Castaway Key. We'll be sailing from Port Everglades, which we discussed on Monday. Will go on sale to the Castaway Club starting September 6th. Will go on sale to the general public on September 12th. And the Maiden voyage will be November 2025. We don't know when exactly. I will just quickly add, all of that is different. Disney had announced the Maiden voyage would be December 2025. It's now November. And they had put up on the website initially that bookings would open in August. And now they've reverted to September. So I think there's a lot happening at Disney Cruise Line right now. And with that, Sam, comment away.
Wait, let's start with some other stuff that we know. Chelsea, travel agents got a little bit of extra information about itineraries. Of course, we still don't know the exact dates, and we don't know, the order of the sailings exactly, right? We just know November 2025. But what was the other information about ports of call that you can share with us?
So we know that the 4 nights are going to stop in either Castaway or in Nassau. And then they're also going to do a day at sea, and then they will stop in Lookout.
Awesome.
So you're getting that Lookout key regardless of what sailing you choose. With the 5 nights, same thing, except 2 days at sea. You're going to get either Castaway or Nassau, and then you're going to get a day at Lookout. And then for the 5-night Western, it's going to be stopping in Cozumel and then stopping in Castaway with 2 days at sea.
So we've got 4-night Bahamian, 5-night Bahamian, and 5-night Western. Those are the itineraries. And that's very in line with what they've been doing with the Disney Dream. But of course, with the big change being Lookout Key being put into the mix. And I'm actually a little surprised about that. And I want to focus on that for a second. I'm surprised because normally you don't necessarily see the new ship with the new private island. Like they tend to kind of mix that up. Old ship, new private island, like they've done with the Magic and Lookout Key, as opposed to the Wish, for example. What do you think about that, Chelsea?
Right. I mean, they did the same thing with the Treasure. They put the Treasure on basically what was the Fantasies itinerary during that 7-night out of Port Canaveral. I think maybe that upset some people, myself included, because I was booked on a Treasure at sailing, and I was like, oh, I don't get to go to Lookout now. Great.
Yeah.
So I think that probably upset some people, and so maybe they're just switching it up a little bit, testing the waters. They want to take advantage of that beautiful new port that they've got in Fort Lauderdale. It's closer, so I think they just want to switch it up.
Yeah,
I think also just there's a couple of comments here to highlight. So CT saying the Lookout stop backs up my assessment that Disney's willing to do a lot to sell the Port Everglades. I really do think that is part of it. And then there is this comment here from Tara. Nice. I'm glad it's going to Lookout K. I'm surprised at that too. I'm really not, because they need more ships going to Lookout Key, and the pier is set up obviously for some bigger ships. That was apparent when the Magic was docked there. So yeah, that Lookout Key decision doesn't strike me as too odd. So yeah, and then just real quickly, I wanted to say that one thing I forgot. Everyone is killing me in the chat right now because I forgot the Pirates bar. They did announce Pirates of the Caribbean themed bar that will replace the Cask and Cannon. Cask and Cannon. Thank you. Cask and Cannon. For all of you out there who watched my 1 minute recap today, it took me 20 tries to get Cask and Cannon out without stumbling over. So the Cask and Cannon will be where the Keg and Compass or the Periscope Pub is today. Again, no renderings out of Disney for that one, so we don't have any pictures to show you.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention about Itinerary specifically is I will share with you all. Of course, everybody saw that Disney accidentally had posted at one point that Itineraries were going to go on sale to the public for the Destiny on August 9th. And I will also tell you, we had heard that the ship was going to sail in early December of 2025. And that's consistent with some artwork that Disney had also put up that said sailing December 2025. Well, what we have heard from insiders is that had all shifted very last minute. And so they're perhaps getting early delivery of the Destiny, and so moved up sailings into November. So I don't know if it moved up by 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, but I know it moved up. And I think that's what has led to this delay in bookings. I still think that they were supposed to announce itineraries today and supposed to start bookings on Monday. I don't think we were wrong about that. I just think that they changed it up. So I think that part is interesting.
Let's walk back through and tackle some things in order here, because there's a lot of good comments in the thread I'd love to highlight. I mean, a lot of the stuff that they've announced over the last couple of days is bar spaces, and I'm Tracy's saying the bar spaces are on point. There's some folks asking, where was it, if they think that the Pirates bar should have switched with Haunted Mansion. I'll go one better. I think they should have put Doctor Strange into the tech bar, because you could have had those cool windows like they have in the kids club. So I mean, how are we feeling about so to sum it up, there's a Pirates bar, a Cruella de Vil bar, a Doctor Strange bar, and the Haunted Mansion bar. That feels like a list of like, which one of these things is not like the other. How are we feeling about that lineup of bars? And I'll just say, like, the only note I have to Disney on the ship, I'm excited about the Destiny, and the only note I have is that Haunted Mansion bar just stands out as like not belonging. So I don't know. What do you both think about the bar lineup on the ship?
Let's go to Chelsea first. I talk all the time on this show. I want to hear what Chelsea thinks.
I mean, I love the Haunted Mansion. I'm very excited for it on the Treasure, but I would agree. I think that they should have put the Sanctum there. That would have been really cool. They could have done a lot with that technology in there, and it would have been a really cool space, especially with all of the Marvel that they seem to be incorporating on the ship. I think they kind of missed an opportunity there, but I think a lot of people were excited about the Haunted Mansion bar on board the Treasure. So I think they're hoping it's going to be a hit, because Haunted Mansion doesn't get enough love.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I think Haunted Mansion, although one could say Pirates doesn't quite fit in with heroes and villains, although Jack is, of course, an anti-hero, right? Jack Sparrow's an anti-hero, so he's kind of a hero and a villain all at once. So I would say those two kind of stick out as far as not being perfect fits with the theming. But I agree with you, Chelsea. I think so many people are really excited about the Haunted Mansion parlor, and so many people are huge Haunted Mansion fans. I like Haunted Mansion. I wouldn't say I'm like hardcore Haunted Mansion fan. I'm more excited about the Sanctum. I'm more excited about some of the Marvel stuff on this ship. But I think that it would have been nice to see something different from the Treasure, to have multiple different spaces and different theming. Like we've got hyperspace on the Wish, and now obviously Haunted Mansion parlor is going to be on the Treasure. So I think it would have been nice to have something different. But if they were going to port something over from the Treasure onto the Destiny, I don't think it's a bad choice. I think it's quite a fan favorite choice. So I think it was actually smart of Disney from that respect. I don't think you'll have a lot of people complaining, because there are people that will only probably get a chance to sail on the Treasure or the Destiny, and they'll, if they're big Disney Parks fans, they'll be really happy to be at the Haunted Mansion parlor on either ship. So that's kind of my
Yeah.
feeling about it.
Let me throw up a few listener comments here. So Nathan saying, first and foremost, that the deck plans are up online as of today, so you can go browse those. That was a fun spot to go before, because you can really see like they'll leave things blank, and those are the things that we're missing. Right now, I think we've got most of the spaces locked down. What we're really missing is just the show, but that's a great resource to have. And then Nathan's also saying, will they have a dog glass to match the cat glass from Scat Cat?
That would be fun. I do like the cat. Yeah, I like the cat theming and then the dog theming.
Fair question. I did want to address this comment from Gabe, who says Cruella feels very out of place. I actually think she feels right at home, because she is the quintessential Disney villain. I mean, she wants to kill 101 puppies to make a coat. So like, I don't know that it gets any more villainous than that. Her reboot movie, I think, was also really popular, and I love sort of the origin story for her villainy. And I think they're supposed to be making another movie. I think they actually announced that they were proceeding into filming with a new installment of that. So I actually feel like she hits the theme pretty well. I think the ones that don't hit the theme really well are especially Haunted Mansion. I agree, Jack Sparrow is kind of like the anti-hero. He's like the hero and the villain all at once. The Doctor Strange one is odd because he's the hero, but if you think about it, what they're really trying to do then is like they have hero bars and villain bars, right?
Yep.
Heroes and villains. So I think the bar lineup is good, with the exception of Haunted Mansion, personally. So yeah. And then Nathan's also saying the Sanctum in the movies literally and they have this. They have this exact technology already on the ships with the little wheels. And so like, I don't understand why they couldn't bring it into the bar. So yeah.
Well, they said, I think in the description, they said something about there is going to be one sort of screen in the Sanctum, but I'm not sure where that's going to fit in, because I'm imagining the Bayou, and I'm just not figuring out where that's gonna fit in the space. So that will be kind of interesting. I think the thing we really need to talk about, though, is Stern character and what we all think about that, and also of course the Atrium Grand Hall statue, because I think there is differences of opinion about whether or not obviously those should be animated Disney characters. Of course, now we've got for both of those, I mean, technically Spider-Man is also an animated character, but he's primarily a live action character, at least in the MCU. And then of course T'Challa being in the Grand Hall. I want to throw this to Chelsea. Let's start with the Grand Hall statue. T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther. What do you think about that? Like it, love it, meh, dislike, what?
I mean, it's definitely different than what they've done before, because you're right, they typically stick with the animated characters and kind of like original, like they haven't really gone past the 90s much with any of like the animated characters that have been in the Grand Hall. So this is a big change for them. But I mean, it's a beautiful tribute to him. I think it's a well-deserved space to have a tribute to him. And I mean, if you're gonna do Marvel, go big. Like,
right, go big or go home. I'm with you, Chelsea. I love it. I love it. As one, I'm a Marvel fan. I will call myself a Disney Marvel fan, right? Like, I'm not a comic book person, but I have loved the MCU overall, with a few exceptions here and there. But I love Black Panther. It's probably one of my like top 3 Marvel movies for sure. And I think it's a beautiful tribute to Chadwick Boseman. And I think it's a lovely choice. And I like that it's different. I'm okay with it being different, especially because of the theming of this ship. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. Like the Stern and the Atrium characters aren't the thing that like define my Disney vacation. And so like for me, it's like, I think it's cool. I actually think it'd be cool if they went a step further. Like I hope they have a little like in memoriam plaque maybe, or make Chadwick the posthumous godfather of the ship, something like it's great to have that honor, I think, in that atrium that everyone's going to see. I also, the CT is making a comment in the chat, tinfoil mouse ears, they can't really use Marvel a lot in Florida. And so, this opens the ability for them to do that on the high seas. Right. And so I don't know. I like it. I like Spider-Man. I like Marvel. I'm a big fan of the MCU. I like it, PS more than Star Wars. So like, I enjoy it. I recognize this ship's not going to be for everyone, and there's a lot of people kind of complaining about the amount of Marvel on it. Don't book it. Like there's a princess themed ship, a treasure themed ship. Like not every ship is for everybody, and so
there's going to be 7 ships with the adventure included in that count. Like by the time this one comes out, so like you've got a lot of choices. You can, I think, pay with your you can choose your ship with your pocket money, right? You can decide which ship. Let's talk about Stern character. Let's talk about Spider-Man. This one I think is a little bit even maybe more of a difference. Again, because it's not an animated character, but also because of the design being different, right? Instead of having the kind of swooshy, swirly filigree around, we've got web shaped. So it's very angular in the design around Spider-Man. So not only is Spider-Man and the spider bots different, but also the design around. Chelsea, what do you think about that one?
I mean, it's definitely, again, it's different than what we've seen them do in the past. I mean, I love Spider-Man. He's adorable. And I do think that he's probably one of the more animated superheroes that they feature. I mean, they've got a lot of like the Disney Junior shows featuring him in animated form. They've done a lot of renditions of the comic books that are animated. So I do think that, he's fairly recognizable in animation. And they do often like to pull in aspects from the parks. So having him fight the spider bots off the side of the ship is, a tribute to Disneyland. And so I think he's fine to stay. He's adorable.
Yeah. I'm with you. I love the spider bots from the Web Slingers ride. I recognized it right away. It's the exact same spider bots. I also have to, on this point, really echo CT's point in the comments that Brian pointed to, which is about the fact that they can't use the IP, the Marvel IP in the Florida parks. And Spider-Man is the most recognizable to, I think, kids around the world as far as superheroes go. There's been obviously multiple different iterations of the movies from, Sony movies and now, of course, Marvel movies. And so I think it's a really smart choice. I want to say with regard to that web design, I'm not hating on it. I'm not going to say I love the web design. It is maybe a little more different as opposed to like the swirly design. I kind of like that swirly traditional design and that all the ships match with regard to that. I have less issue with the character and only a little bit of issue with the web design. But it's really clever.
Matches a lot of what we've seen like with the staterooms and stuff. Everything seems fairly elevated and more modern in its decor. And so I think that kind of is a nice nod to what's happening inside the ship.
Yeah.
Even if it's not matching the exterior of the previous ships.
That's a really good point. It is definitely a modern take on it with that angular kind of feeling instead of the flourishy kind of feeling.
So I do want to pull up a couple comments here. So Taryn's saying Angela Bassett should be the godmother. Obviously, she plays T'Challa's mother. That's a fabulous idea, Taryn.
Or Cherie, the one who plays Cherie, she would be great too.
I want to pull up this one because Taryn, love you. Thank you for being a part of our community. But I chuckled at this because I was looking at it going, I think the single most polarizing ship is whatever ship is next, right? And so I think the Wish could have been was the single most polarizing ship in the fleet, and then it was the Treasure because the Treasure's venues didn't really align. So I just think that they have, and maybe we pull this comment up that sort of signifies this, is Wesley's comment says they've got a good job diversify. Yes, these ships each have a different feel to them, and so I love the Wish, but I can tell you right now it's falling to the bottom of my list in terms of the Wish class offerings right now because I like the Treasure and the Destiny theming more. So while the Wish was great, it's not my favorite anymore. I think one of these is going to be my favorite. So I think that's the thing. They're diversifying and giving you options. And look, these ships aren't going to be sailing the itineraries that they're doing forever. At some point, they will trade up and switch out. And look, Disney's going to build more ships at some point, right? We're hoping D23, but maybe not, right? So I just think it's good to have options. So
Yeah. We got to talk shows. Can we talk shows for
Yes.
a minute? Is this a good segue to
yes, although
shows?
just one last thing on Spider-Man, I do love this comment. The Destiny Spirit jersey with Spidey would be really cool.
Oh, I agree.
It's already teed up to go in my closet.
That is, there you go. I love it, Chelsea.
Right. Shows. So a lot of people were really frustrated with Frozen again. Seas the Adventure, whatever. We don't have. I mean, it's Seas the Adventure. It's a fun show.
It's adorable.
Like, I enjoy
it's a great
it. I
short.
like it. Yeah,
it's a great short first night show. Let's put it that way.
It's a great way to introduce people to the shows, right? So like I love it. And it's great for kids. What the two so we don't have Hercules, although we still think it might come, right? We still think that might get announced. And then I will say the one show I quibble with is the Pirate Parlay Deck Party. I think this was lean into that Marvel and let's do a superhero deck party, or let's bring back the Captain, was it Rogers show from
Rogers
Disney,
the musical.
Rogers the musical.
I would have loved that instead of the Seas the Adventure. I do love Seas the Adventure. So my thoughts on this are, I'm not hating on Seas the Adventure. I'm not hating on Frozen. They are two of my favorite shows across the Disney fleet. I think they're both great, but I really was hoping for, and I don't think we're going to get Rogers the Musical on board. Rogers the Musical is a shorter show, so it would have been a perfect replacement for Seas the Adventure, but it goes hardcore into the Marvel theming. So, that could be good or bad. I think they chose Frozen because they needed like something for the little girl crowd, and this ship does not have a lot that's focused on the little girl crowd. Like the Wish is hardcore for the little girl crowd. The Treasure is a little bit more of a mix, but I think goes a little bit more, traditionally speaking, a little bit more towards the boy crowd. And this one to me also sort of went a little bit more towards the boy crowd. And that's of course being very generalistic. That's not true for every person, but that's generalization.
Let's say it went more toward the princess crowd on the Wish,
right?
The princess favorites. There's plenty of people across the spectrum who love the
right, of course, exactly.
And this one's going to the
That's a better way to put it.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that sense, I think that they were doing something a little bit different. But I want to mention Linda Eve, who's in our Facebook groups and is usually on our live. I think she's listening in, but I think in the car she mentioned when we started the show. So she's not really commenting on here, but there you go.
There she is.
Yeah, there she is. So Linda had mentioned on Facebook, and I think she's right. It would have made more sense though to go with Tangled on this ship, because you only have Tangled the musical on the Magic. Right now you have Frozen on two different ships. You already have Frozen on the Fantasy and on the Wonder. So couldn't we get another ship with Tangled? So I'm going to agree with Linda that she was saying that on Facebook today. I agree, but I'm not hating on Frozen because it's wonderful. And my prediction is still Hercules, the musical, is coming. That's the third show. That's why we keep seeing all that Hercules stuff. And there isn't a space now. They actually think everything we heard confirms Hercules the musical, because there's no space left to really be themed Hercules, such that it would be so prominently featured.
But they
in
got
all
a coffee
of
bar.
The hints.
It got a coffee bar.
It's not going to be
not
coffee.
enough.
That's not enough. Chelsea, what do you think about the? Yeah, I agree. Announcement coming soon on the.
Yeah,
new
Allison's
show.
saying there
Maybe
will be a new
D23.
announcement coming soon. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do agree.
I hope not D23, by the way, because I think that like, for me, that just means they're not going to have a big announcement. By the D23.
Right.
Anyway,
Well, we don't
sorry.
know.
Go.
I'm just going to get a show.
We're going to get a show. Exactly.
I mean, I do think it's going to be a new show. So I do think that it's going to be probably Hercules. They have hinted that a lot, that Hercules is going to have. And, that's kind of like your classic good, evil hero villain story. So I think that there is going to be.
And it's all about his
Hercules,
journey
I
to
have
be a
to wish.
hero, right? He's got a hero trainer, even, right? So it's like it fits.
It's the perfect show to do there. I don't have an opinion on Seas the Adventure because I think it's great. And Frozen, both of my boys are still like hardcore Frozen fans. Rage singing Let It Go at any available moment. So we love it in this house. So
I love that.
This is like the perfect ship for us, because my husband and I get a little bit of the Marvel and my kids get Frozen. So
I love that. What about Frozen 2? Wouldn't it have been nice though to get Frozen 2 maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I still feel like Frozen 2 definitely was more for like the OG Frozen kids. Like I was
Mhm.
watching it when I was younger, and then Frozen 2 comes out, and now I'm an adult watching it with my kids crying because I remember the original. And yeah, my kids like the original. They just
Okay.
want Elsa.
I love that.
So
I
I
love that
love
your
his
kids
comment.
love Frozen.
I love his comment from Tracy. I still vote for villains tonight. I mean, it did seem like a sure bet that like maybe that would have been the
Yeah.
second show and not Frozen. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so Pirate Deck Party though,
Pirate Deck Party.
um, thumbs up, thumbs down. I mean,
I gotta give it like a yeah, like I gotta give it like a halfway. I'm not like I actually really like the Pirate Deck Party on the Wish, but it's also going to be on the Treasure. So I was hoping maybe they would do a Heroes like Heroes Unite. I keep hearing from Taryn, who I know is watching, how great Heroes Unite is, and from others. And I want to see it myself, but I would love if they would have rejiggered things and done maybe a new version of Heroes Unite or the same version but with the fireworks instead of doing Pirate Night. So, but I also think there are hardcore Disney Cruise Line fans who are like, I cannot go on a ship without a pirate night. So, yeah, Pirate Deck Party is safe to Tinfoil Mousy or CT's point. Like, they know it's a crowd pleaser. People like pirate having pirate night and dressing up for pirate night, and it doesn't work the same, the dress up and everything for something else. So I'm not hating on it that they're porting this over from the Wish and the Treasure, but I was hoping for something a little bit different. Matthew is saying everyone loves pirates, especially when in the Caribbean. Totally true. Um, Accessible Adventures with Andrew. Hey, Andrew is telling us, I hope they update the adventure show from ship to ship. Yeah. I think, we would love to see an updated Pirate Party, but it is a great show. So I would guess it's going to be exactly the same.
yeah, and I want to hit on this comment from CT where he says, "Didn't the Moana yes, the Moana musical like just got announced. Like it feels like a year ago, but it was actually like 3 weeks ago or something.
No,
It was like
not 3 weeks
or
ago.
like a couple. It was not. It was recent. It was like fairly
Yeah.
recent that they announced it. But like yes, and so did menus for the restaurants. Those didn't get announced until more recently. So like I mean, Disney has really they love to dribble this stuff out to like just keep our hearts racing a little bit, and all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. So yeah, stuff is going to keep coming out. This is not the end. This was just like, okay, we're going to dump a bunch on you and then we'll keep dribbling some stuff out. So yeah, I think that stuff is coming. Let's
So we haven't talked about Saga, which is the replacement for Luna. We don't have any rendering of it, so it's kind of whatever we can imagine it to be. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess it's gonna be just like Luna and Sarabi and have that openness to it, even though I don't love the openness. But we don't really know. Any predictions or thoughts on that, Chelsea?
I mean, they have given us nothing.
Yeah,
So there's really not
yeah,
much to go on. But I mean, I think the Wakanda theming will pull in nicely from the Grand Hall, kind of continue that trend.
yeah, good point.
So I think it'll be nice. I think hopefully it'll be a good space. I really hope that they go kind of over the top with the Wakanda theming. Like I really want to feel like I'm in there.
Totally.
So I hope that those artist renderings are rough right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm with
Um,
you.
we only have about 10 minutes left here, Sam. We're less than 10 minutes left, and I want to keep us on time. So the other thing, so I think we have to talk about. I know we talked about up front, sort of what we know about the itineraries, where they're going. I did want to bring up Thomas's comment about sort of DCL's agreement with Port Everglades and the amount of volume of passengers they're trying to pump through there. So,
Yeah.
P.S. If you want to know why they're putting the newest ship going to the newest island in Port Everglades, yes, this is why. But this comment, I think, typifies what everyone is wanting to know right now, which is I wonder if they will make the Maiden over Thanksgiving week and really drive up the price, similar to the Treasure over Christmas. And so
I had
Yep.
the
I
same
just,
thought.
yeah,
Yep. Same,
I just,
Chelsea.
I just wanted to say, like, we did hear earlier this week that this kind of like blew up and there was like a lot of work going on and the company to figure out what to do. And my immediate reaction was some executive probably looked at the maiden voyage happening in December and went, have you guys lost your damn minds? Like, didn't we just do this? Like, they're not doing it again. But thanks. Now, I will say Thanksgiving, I think, is a little different for some than Christmas. A lot of people will travel over Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people will travel to see family, but a lot of people also use this as an opportunity to get away. Sam and I are two of those people. Like who was it? Vince Vaughn and whoever it was, Reese Witherspoon in that movie that they do where they're traveling to Hawaii and instead of
Yeah,
going to
Four
Thanksgiving.
Christmases, that's
Oh, that
called.
was Four
Yeah. No,
Christmases.
it's
Okay, not
Christmas.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we love to travel on Thanksgiving, and we sometimes go see family, but we also sometimes just decide to take a family trip. I think Thanksgiving could be a more accessible opportunity for families to travel. What we were hearing was an an early December maiden, which would mean who's going to book, a 5-night cruise in the beginning of December if if they've got kids, they're in school, they're probably already planning to travel for the holidays, which means pulling them out of school and then traveling again a few weeks later is probably impossible. It didn't make a lot of sense if they really wanted to sell the ship. Now maybe they don't want to sell the ship. I don't know. But
Or maybe they
given
just want it to be an adult only crowd, which,
yeah,
adults without kids have more flexibility with that.
but given everything we know about how the December Christmas Maiden went for the treasure, the blowback for the community, the fact that it didn't sell out until recently, and I'm still not convinced it sold out so much as Disney's just taken a bunch of rooms offline. I don't know. How do we feel about when this should happen in November? Is Thanksgiving the right date, or do we feel like it should happen on a non-holiday week? Yeah. What do you two think? Chelsea, especially curious about you having to like sell these cruises to clients. So yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I think Thanksgiving is a more accessible feeling week for a lot of people. Um, when with Christmas travel, first of all, the price is insane. And if you're booking over Christmas or anywhere within that whole like 10 days surrounding Christmas, you've already booked your travel for Christmas. Like you've booked it in July or earlier. So, November feels a little bit more accessible. I'm hoping that they do a little bit earlier in the month because people still might have that, oh, well, we're traveling for family, we can't miss grandpa's last
forget about the
Thanksgiving.
family. Bring grandma along with you.
Right. I mean, I think Thanksgiving's a little bit better than Christmas for sure, but hopefully they'll do it maybe around like Veterans Day when kids are already out of school anyway, give you a little bit of a break there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Matthew's saying the weekend after Thanksgiving is the perfect time to start a vacation. Tracy's we think after Thanksgiving. I'm
gonna go out on a limb and say they're gonna maiden it Thanksgiving. This is my prediction. I don't know, like not Thanksgiving Day, but like a couple days before Thanksgiving and do, like a 5-night that includes Thanksgiving because they can get that premium price for that sailing for being a holiday and for it being a maiden voyage. And I'm going to say, sign me up for that. So if they maiden this ship over Thanksgiving week, the duo plus Nathan will be on this ship on the maiden voyage.
And dear Princess, you will be giving me some of my money.
Yeah,
back, so.
Princess Cruise. We'll have to call Kaylee because we got to cancel that Princess Cruise that we have booked over Thanksgiving. So if this maiden's over Thanksgiving, now if it maidens before Thanksgiving, I still might have to cancel that Princess Cruise so that I can sail on the Destiny over Thanksgiving week. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that it's going to be Thanksgiving week. I don't have any inside knowledge as to this. The only thing we know is that it was originally December, and I think before Christmas was what I heard. I don't know the exact date, but it wasn't going to be Christmas, and then they moved up the date, and likely because they're getting early delivery. So
I'm going to say the Friday after Thanksgiving.
The Friday after Thanksgiving. I like it. The day after Thanksgiving. Okay.
Well, there you have it. All right.
Allison is saying, I think the preview media cruises will be before Thanksgiving and it'll be 5-night during Thanksgiving. That's what I'm saying, Allison. I agree. I think preview media cruises before Thanksgiving, but the actual maiden, I'm hoping over Thanksgiving.
I got to put up any comment from Come On Son, Psych Forever, who's saying, yes, agreeing with you. But with that, we only have about a minute left here before Sam or I have to turn into a pumpkin and go get Nathan. So I just want to wind us down by saying a couple things. One is lots of information still to come, especially the itineraries. Expect those, probably sometime in late August to early September, right before the booking windows open up. Probably nothing earlier would be my guess. If you want to book, if you're listening to this and you are those people who like the Destiny and are interested in booking, we cannot advocate enough for you to please, go talk to our show sponsor, My Path Unwinding Travel. You can reach out to them by heading to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or emailing dclduo@mypathunwinding.com. And they can't give you itinerary information right now, but they can get you on the list so that, you're on their list to book the day that those things go on sale.
And if you want to book with Chelsea specifically, you can request to book with Chelsea as well. You would be in good company as the DCL Duo senior, Tracy and Michael. They use Chelsea as their agent. So she comes highly recommended from two of our very close friends who
and an
really
amazing
love working. And an amazing guest, of course. So, Chelsea, we hope that you will join us again. For now, we will say good night to everyone. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will be back on Monday with Popular Cruising at our normal time, which is 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We will see you next Monday live.
See everybody.